What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here in this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. This video is also brought to you by two things. Since we don't do any sponsorships here on the channel, I'll show them out real quick. The first is my music, which is available anywhere you stream music under the name Aftersound, and the second is a new podcast I just launched called Chasing Infinity. Links in the description to both below. Check it out. Let me know what you think, and I appreciate the support. Okay, guys, let's talk about wild format, and specifically about a sentiment that I am seeing become a little bit more common, or at least I'm seeing it spoken a little bit more these days, which I think personally is fantastic, and I would love to double down on this further if we can, or I guess specifically if the team can. And that is the idea that even if you play modern format, it is worthwhile, and again, worthwhile is subjective, to get the Wild Season Pass, rise up the ranks, especially maybe at the end of the season or something, and then just get all of the reward chests from that, especially if you play at the higher levels where you can get a decent amount of reward chests, including some ultimate chests, right? If you get into Diamond or Champion. So the thing is, what I love about that is for people that just want to play Modern, for example, with the reward chests that are given out, and I should really call them like tier advancements rewards. With these rewards available, it incentivizes you to play both formats, right? So let's say you're only in Modern, well, maybe you'll go and play Wild. And if you're in Wild, then you might do some battles in Modern just to like rise up the ranks and hopefully get one of those tier advancements, right? So it gets people to play in both, but obviously this is one-sided because Wild is the format that charges you 2,000 DEC. Now, the reason I said it's worthwhile, and worthwhile is subjective, is because you're always going to have people that are trying to min-max this, right? Where it's just like, okay, if I pay 2,000 DEC, roughly $2 a peg, what am I getting out of this? Let's say I advance 1 or 2 tiers and I get a bunch of different chests. Is the reward going to be worth it from a dollars and cents perspective? Again, I know that people look at it that way. I would hope that as we move along, the focus isn't so much on the rewards, right? Again, it's 2,000 DEC. I don't think that's going to break the bank. Even at Peg in a Raging Bull Run, 2,000 DEC is always going to be about $2. So to me, what I would love to see happen in order to further incentivize things is find ways to reward people with more things like the tier advancements in each league, so that you get people having to choose between one or the other, or get extra energy and play in both to get the advantages of both. Now, I had a kind of a wild idea a while back stating that Wild format should have its own glint store. It should have its own exclusive prizes that people can, get excited about and go play there, right? Yes, you can go and play for free in Modern, but if you want to get access to some of the cool stuff, then, you get Wild glint when you play in Wild, and then you can go and use that, right, at a separate Wild glint store. I know that's a lot of work, and it would be too confusing at that point. So obviously that's not a direction we can go, and not one that we can go anytime soon. But the reward tier advancements were something that were not even on my radar, but they've kind of incentivized that behavior, because the more people that we can get to jump into Wild format, even if you don't play for a lot, is that 2,000 DEC burned is 2,000 DEC burned. And the more people we can get to do that and participate in that, well, obviously we get the flywheel activated. So I don't have any other particular ideas, like I said, outside of, the massive one to create a whole separate store, but I like the sentiment and seeing this kind of benefit of playing both. And I like it in that way where it's not like, oh, you have to do this, otherwise you're missing out, or you're giving up on, ROI or whatever the case is. This is simply like, hey, there's a benefit for playing both formats. And if we can continue to put stuff like that in there, and again, I don't know what it will be, maybe cool airdrops, maybe you get Wild format points, right? For example, if you're playing Wild format, similar to like champion points or something like that, and you can use those at some point in the future, or they collect, and maybe there's an airdrop every once in a while. Again, I'm just throwing random ideas out there that hopefully aren't as crazy as creating a separate Wild format glint shop and Wild format glint. But I think that there's somewhere in the middle that we can meet. And in doing so, with the expectation and the hope that we're going to get a lot of new players coming in, they'll obviously gravitate towards Modern. But what you want is for them to play Modern, become proficient at the game, maybe not experts, but proficient at the game, and then for them to take a look across the aisle and say, wait a second, so there's this other format called Wild. It's literally every card in the game that you can play, and there's some cool prizes that you can go and get. Now, maybe you don't have it so that, like I was saying earlier, it's exclusive to Wild, but even if it's something that is on both sides where you get more reward chests or some other thing, just the simple fact of people saying like, okay, I got my Modern stuff out of the way. Now I want to go min-max on Wild and go and get those rewards there too. It adds more of that gameplay progression element, whatever you want to call it, right? So whether it's Wild format points, whether it's airdrops, whether it's Wild format glint, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. My hope is that we double down and really have it so that at some point we can kind of treat these as separate game modes, right? Yes, if you're new, you want to compete at the highest levels with the most recent sets, you go into Modern. If you want to play with some of the big boys, right? And obviously it's an automated league, so you'll be up against bots and whatever. But if you want to play with some of the big boys and against some cards that have dominated throughout all of, Splinterlands history, and really just open the meta up to be completely wild, pun intended, well, go in, jump into the arena, and there's going to be some cool prizes for you when you do that. So, like I said, we're starting off in a good spot where people are now choosing to just pay the 2,000 DEC because it's like, yeah, let me just go and get some extra chests, right? Especially if I can advance like 2 tiers at the very least, then I know that I can get something relatively easy. And if you go in towards the end of the season, you could probably like just get a win streak going up because all that ratings inflation means that you're playing the bottom of the barrel in Wild. So again, I like what's happening. I would love to see us double down on it further, but I'm curious to get your thoughts on this and what else we can potentially add. So let me know in the comments below if you have any cool ideas, but that is all I have for you guys in this video. I'll catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.